Hey everybody, this is a Three Geeks Conversation. We have April here. Say hello to everybody, April.
Hey, what's up? My name's April Gabrielli. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about yourself. Man. We know you're a musician.
Yeah. My name's April Gabrielli. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I'm recently diagnosed epileptic.
That's unfortunate.
I know. But no, it's okay. I'm okay. The only reason I say that is because I'm totally zoned out. I just got out of the hospital. So that's just on my mind. So there it is. It's out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm a musician. I've been in rock bands for most of my music life, and now I am sort of on the quest to debut my solo project as an artist, as just April Rose Gabrielli.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
So how long has this single kind of been percolating? How long have you been working on it?
So I've been sort of trying to launch myself as a soloist for about a year and a half, 2 years. COVID obviously kind of delayed that a little bit, but I think everything happens for a reason. It bought me a little bit more time. Mm-hmm. So that's been good. And I've been sitting on my debut single, EP, and record now, I guess, for just about that long as well. But I've been, again, like tweaking it and being able to really shape it into something I really am loving. So
forgive me, you have the whole album done? Like, how many songs is it? I'm curious.
I have close to about 16 tracks.
Nice.
that could be out in a couple, like in a month or so. So I don't want them to be out yet. It's so funny. It's so funny. I've waited so long and all, but I still could always use more time. I don't know what that's about, but I got a bunch of songs that I love and that feel really unique to me in my experience, because I've fronted bands for a lot of my experience and also, served as a keys player or somebody who's harmonizing. So it's not always my perspective that I'm having to share or defend.
Sure.
Even just as a songwriter, you always have to consider who you're writing for. Mm-hmm. So it's been a really unique experience to have these songs that feel a lot
more intimate, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's awesome. What kind of influence did that? I mean, I watched a lot of your YouTube songs before we started, and I saw like Mr. Brightside covers and things like that. Was that genre in there?
Oh yeah. I'm like a very typical 90s, 2000s kid as far as my music tastes go. My first record I ever bought was NSYNC, No Strings Attached. I know. I love that stuff. I love it. I've kind of come up through the rock world a little bit. Yeah. So I had to really like closet myself as a pop music lover. But I could like pop music harmonies stacked to the nines. I could are to die for. So I mean that's what I love. But I love rock music too.
You gonna pull like Garth Brooks and Chris Gaines, just have a whole separate identity to do pop music?
Oh yeah, I mean that would be great.
Yeah, just dye your hair black. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure I'll be doing that. No, but yeah. So I love all kinds of music, honestly. But I there's nothing better than really hard hitting, intense guitars and then catchy pop melodies. I think the intersection of both is just what I love. So anything that sort of takes any of that into account
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So how long have you been, I don't want to say musician, probably most of your life, but when did you start? Like, was it a certain age or?
Yeah, like on a serious level, I'd say I wrote my first song when I was about 12 or 13. Okay. And then I started performing in musicals and musical theater around that age as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so 12 or 13 is when I started really, maybe even younger. I think my first vocal recital, I was 9. I was singing some solo from My Fair Lady, but that wasn't super rock and roll. So we'll
take it. It's
okay. So about that long. I'm 28 now, so it's been a minute. But yeah, this is kind of just always what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
never thought really to do anything else.
What about the keyboard then? I know you play the keys. So how long have you been doing that?
Keys were always kind of in my life, and they stayed in my life because as I got older and different musical acts changed and transformed, I started finding myself on stage by myself more often, so I needed some accompaniment. So I could either sing by myself with no music, which I've done and love doing. Yeah. It's such a muscle to flex. You feel really cool if you can handle it. And then, but I actually started the instrument, I would say, when I was about 4 years old. There's always home. My mother played. My mother had a recording studio in our basement. Really cool stuff. So yeah, it's always sort of been in my life in that way, and it's always been something I could just always come and sit down at the end of the day.
Is your mom a pretty serious musician then, if she has a recording studio in her basement?
So currently she's not currently a musician, but for many years that's what she was doing, and I've heard her songs, or I've heard recordings of her songs on the radio as well. Her demos, her songs are actually the first songs that I learned on piano. So any of the chords that I played, I used to, like an A major in my mind was like, or I'm sorry, D major was, that's the first chord to So Many Roads, one of my mom's songs. I never really knew it as D major until it was like, So yeah, her songs sort of taught me, or she taught me through her music how to play and sing. It's kind of wild.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Has she had a lot of input in your album and your single?
Oh yeah. She's the best. My mother is an angel. I can't even. It's so funny because you'd think that like it would be a point of tension for a grown woman daughter and her mother, who's also an artist, and who if she's a Scorpio, I'm a Pisces. We have very intense perspectives. Female, and we're Italian women. We have these very intense perspectives. Like it's really like a recipe for disaster. But she is my biggest fan. I'm her biggest fan. She's always making me feel like $1,000 million. She's always makes me feel like I'm not like a huge fan.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she's definitely had input. It's her and my few songwriter friends and producer friends. Those are the people I send my first demos to. Like, hey, check this out, so and she'll always give me a very honest answer, which you can't really ask anything more than that. So
yeah, that's awesome. So what surprised you creating your first album? Is something like caught you to left field? Like, is anything odd that you weren't really expecting?
Wow. How insecure I am about it. I'm curious.
I mean,
my whole life, I've talked a lot of shit, I've been like, I'm in this band. I could do this so much better if this was my project. I could do this. Oh, well, if I was in charge, this would be getting done. Oh, God. You talk so much shit in your life, and then when push comes to shove, it's like, oh, my God. You feel like you're like a skinned bird, and someone just set you on fire, took a shit from you, and left you on the side of the road. Like, you don't feel like... okay, it's scary, and it's just music. How stupid is that? How stupid? How silly?
But it's intimate. It's your words. Like everything about what you want to do.
Yeah. We walk a thin line with what we let bother us. But like with music, it's like I don't know. You can feel so serious about it and so scared of it. But yeah, I would say like it's the insecurities I've had to really just say I am April Rose Gabrielli, and this is my perspective. And to just defend it like with all I have, So I think that would be like a bit of a shocker. Yeah. I've also, like I kind of mentioned before, like have been going through some, personal and health situations that I could have never even thought of experiencing in my lifetime. So that's been really crazy and surreal. But I still, it gives you a whole lot of perspective, and like my manager says, a lot of material. So, but yeah.
Has it been fun? I assume your friend group and maybe your family has listened to your album already. Is it fun to see their perspective of the music? Maybe they saw something you didn't when listening to it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's fun to hear because, like I said, I really have always put myself in this sort of more rock music category, and my friends have always, been more organic rock music producers and creators. So I think it's really fun and shocking for them to hear my voice on more pop leading tracks.
Sure.
And also the content of what I write about too is it's a little bit more specific to me, and I use a lot of different strange, words that I like to sneak in there. Why use the normal ones? So, but yeah, they were definitely interested or intrigued to see all the different directions I took it when nobody was, reeling me in, I guess.
What was your favorite word to sneak in? Now I'm curious. Did you sneak it in more than once too?
So I have to think about it.
We can come back to it.
No. I have two. Well, I have a song that's out with another project, actually. Okay. I use the word hypothalamus in a song.
Oh, all right then.
And it's only in the verse. It's not like a chord. It's not like a repeating lyric. But it
wasn't the hook?
Hypothalamus. Yeah, hypothalamus in a song called "On the Run" by a band called the Rose Monarch. We snuck that word in, and then I have the rhyme in one of my songs that I'll be releasing soon. It's I'm not cynical. I'm not cynical. You're just critical. My pain is clinical. Those three rhymes. I like all of it.
Yeah, it's smooth. It's good. Yeah, it's smooth.
Yeah, it's like the C and the L, C and the L. I don't know. I'm learning so many new things about my brain chemistry that it's just so many strange that makes sense now in the full spectrum of things.
Has this album made you a better songwriter? Do you think, like, just the process of creating the album?
Oh yeah, I definitely. I don't know. Well, better in terms of more. I trust in the process a lot more now. I'm not as stingy about these little small things. I think if it's a good song, it's a good song.
Sure.
You know what I mean, if it's either good or it's not. I honestly feel that there's really not much more to it. There's obviously magic in a lot of what artists do, but I definitely think there's also a lot more simplicity in it than many people, especially now, are willing to admit.
So this being your first kind of solo, I mean, you might have been doing other solo stuff, but you mentioned you frontlined a bunch of other bands and things like that. Mm-hmm. How has that been different? Is it interesting just being in your own space or not having to talk to anybody else about really the art? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Luckily my partner is, and like have so many very close friends that feel like, they're all a part of my project, and all are on the same page as me with my project. So that's been really great. But it has been really nice because I feel that I could really just live in my truth and sort of take it where I want it to go without judgment. And I feel like that gives the art a lot of room to breathe. And then on the flip side, sometimes when you do have other people sort of pressuring you to work or, maybe work a little bit faster or differently than you would normally, sometimes that is a good thing. It makes you stronger in other areas. But I feel like I'm at the point now where I kind of know what works for me and what doesn't, and
sure,
it's been all right. Yeah.
Are there sections that have a more full band, or is it always just your vocals and a piano? Do you have?
This is mostly fully produced music. The instrumentation follows. It's very centric with the vocals, a lot of vocal layering, and then piano is like a secondary to that.
Sure.
I love the use of guitars, electric guitars, and strings and drums. It's like a good mix of organic.
Yeah, it sounds like a full band
type drums. So I kind of just like to do what serves the song best, with obviously keeping within some sort of borders that people will like, you know what I mean, and understand that goes with my sound. But yeah, I'd say it's mostly vocal, piano, guitar, and then some drums and things.
So thinking about that and this is just me being ignorant of the whole scene, but like when you go to tour, are you bringing people with you, or are you just finding people locally to be like, hey, can you play this piece for me? You know what I mean?
Like cool idea. I never thought of that. Too much of a control freak to ever even think of something like that. That's a beautiful collective, the artistic suggestion. But I'm in the process of trying to get my live show together.
Sure.
As a band now, because I had only done shows as a solo vocalist and keyboard player by myself. So now I'm trying to also get some tracks together with a live drummer, and then my writing partner and producer, Jacob Kulik, on Project Kulik. He's going to be playing pretty much everything: guitar, anything he's doing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of, and then a drummer also in Kulik. So we'll see. We're gonna do a little 3-piece, and then see what happens from there. But
if we cut just that section, it sounds like we're at KFC.
Yeah.
Sorry, that joke kind of threw me off sides.
Okay.
So for your live band, right? Have you any thoughts to like where you're gonna go, where you're gonna travel? Like, are you staying in the city, like you being a New Yorker, or are you planning on kind of branching out, doing other stuff?
Definitely. I love to tour. I've toured the US a bunch and internationally, and I want to go further. My goal is to definitely do a tour of Europe within the next 2 years, because I haven't done that yet. Definitely to see the US again. There's definitely some cities and 1 or 2 states that I haven't seen, like Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. I want to play a show in Hawaii, maybe.
You should do it off of a helicopter on top of a volcano.
That sounds safe. Yeah.
I didn't say it was safe. I said it was cool.
Yeah. No, why not? Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that. It's go full. I've been watching a lot of Pink's documentaries. She's like wild, like acrobat, like do something like that. Anything that I see now, like compared to what she's doing, I'm just like, yeah. Nobody can do that. Yeah. So yeah, I wanna go anywhere that anyone will have me, as long as,
That's a good attitude to have, I think.
Yeah, I would love that, to see as many places. The only reason I've been able to see the world is because of music. So it's wherever that it will take me next, I'm happy to go.
Yeah, I was watching one of your videos before the interview, and I really loved the set. You're on top of a building. I thought that was super cool.
Oh, yeah. That's through So Far Sounds, which is all over the world, actually. And I got in with the So Far NYC crew and did a couple shows. But the crazy thing about that, I don't know if you could see it in the video too, we were standing on glass. So we were standing about, I don't know, 30 stories up.
Okay, Miss Safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I was shitting a pickle down there. That was crazy. That was like really scary. And like not a lot really freaks me out like that, but that was like really freaky. It felt, yeah, it was really cool. I forget the name escapes me of the hotel at the moment, but amazing view. I mean, you standing there.
It looked really cool.
Street. Yeah, that was an amazing venue. The venue matters. It really does. It really helps the whole thing.
Do you have you had a favorite venue so far?
Let me think about that. Yes, and I'm thinking about it in my head, and the name is escaping me. I loved to play. We played at a opera house, I believe, in Montreal, in Canada.
Yeah.
And I remember it being a really, really cool experience. Just
what was so cool about it? Yeah.
I love architecture. I'm like an architecture nerd.
Okay.
I love old buildings and things. Even in the small neighborhood I'm in now, I just love, like, we YouTube all the time, like videos of this area in like the 30s. Like, it's so nerdy, but I love it. I think it's so fantastic. So I think that's why. I think the older the building or the more history you can like actually feel in the building itself, I think the better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I guess where would do you have a favorite city or a state or a least favorite state? Let's segregate somebody. Like F.U. Iowa, you know?
No. Truly, and this is coming from a true place. Coming from New York, am a total snob, and having traveled everywhere and being like, oh, New York's the best, blah, blah, blah. The whole country is a beautiful and welcoming place. Truly. And I toured with a bunch of different groups, and there has been so many kind people along the way, and the different states all have their own different accents and foods and unique qualities. And
do you have a favorite memory while traveling? You have a favorite like
oh, I mean, like tons.
Yeah. Do you have any good ones?
A favorite.
Yeah, be on the spot.
We went to this place. We went to this place in Colorado.
Okay.
And it was just, I don't know where it, to this day, don't know where it is. I could find out probably from someone who was on the tour.
What if it never existed?
It may have not. This might.
That's right. I
like a delusion. But if it did, it was in Colorado, and it was like these sand dunes, and you could just, for miles, it was just sand, and like it wasn't a beach though. It was just, we kind of happened upon this, and then it was a little swampy, but it was just beautiful, and this big open field, like it was like a Windows XP background. Like it was like so old and like so like nothing there. But it was just so wide open, and so it was magical. It was, and we were laying like my bandmates and I were like laying on the ground, like with our ear on the sand, and you could I don't know, you could just hear everything around you in the earth. Cool. Yeah. It was nature's amazing. So the times that you can really just be like one-on-one with it, you don't have cell phone service or anything like that. But it's basically these sand dunes in Colorado somewhere. It escapes me where that even was. But that's the tough part about touring. Sometimes you have these beautiful memories and you want to go and pinpoint it or revisit it, but it's like it was all a dream. It was like it all just kind of happens all at once. And
at least you have a nice memory for it though, either way.
Yeah. It was touching, and I look forward to experiencing something similar in the future.
Are you gonna do any music videos? I was thinking about that while you're talking about the sand dunes. Anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a music video made for this for my single that "Do You," and I am very, very pleased with the way it came out.
Cool.
My buddy Tom Flynn, who is an incredible videographer. We worked on it together, as well as the artist Kulik that I had mentioned before. He's also in it, which is really cool. And yeah, I love the way it turned out. Sorry, I forget it. It's always sitting on it. Yeah, so there's a music video for that song. It was also surreal shooting that because there was no band. It was just me, it's just me singing, performing, calling the shots, and being on that set and kind of just, experiencing it fully and truly. But the music video should be coming out shortly after the song is released, which hopefully is within the next couple of months. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's visually really stunning. I'm very proud of it. And there's a lot of little weird Easter eggs in there that I feel my viewers off on a really cool little note as far as my visual art and what
is there a general rule? Is it song then music video or music video then song? Does anybody
I don't really know if there's a rule. I've always done it in the past. It's like sometimes you release it day of if you want to get sometimes maximum impact is if you want to get both the music video and the song out at the same time. Sometimes it helps if you get both out if you're like a smaller band, because then people will share more. But I don't know. My manager and I kind of decided we were gonna try to do two different approaches with both the song, get the song out, and then get the music video out as like a secondary kind of thing. But we're still planning out what would be best. But yeah, I don't know if there's a rule, but that's what I'm gonna do. That's what we're doing this time. I've done it differently in the past. I don't know. I guess I'll let you know what works better.
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Are you second album like in the tank, or are you thinking about another album, or are you like this? I need a break in like a year between.
Oh God, no, never.
Songwriting.
I honestly never want to take a break from what I'm doing. I want to continually be just pushing stuff out. It's a blessing to have access to time and to resources to make music. So I'm just trying to take full advantage of it while I can. I have a poetry book that I'm about 3/4 of the way done with. So in between album cycles, that'll probably sneak out somewhere.
So I did want to ask this. I saw that I was on your website too, just doing some research. And I saw you do like art and then do poetry. I guess my question around the poetry and the songwriting, isn't songwriting similar to poetry to the point where you're just adding music to the background of poems? So like, how do you know? Yeah, how do you know when to like not do a song to it? You know what I mean?
Oh, I can totally answer that question. For me, with poetry, at least, you can get far more specific.
Okay.
I feel that there's a certain suave that I don't know. I feel I need to have with a song, you know, that there's more, you're inferring emotions and you're giving a feeling and you're giving an experience that you're sort of setting up with music. You know, there's more senses to work with music versus just poetry. Whereas poetry, I feel if I want to say something really flat out, honest, straight to the point, harsh, whatever.
It's almost more cathartic, right? Because you're just it's raw.
Yeah. If the more painful things I've had to express in my life, I've certainly done through poetry.
Okay.
And then I make it cute with little doodles on the side. So hopefully,
I hate you so much. Here's a butterfly.
Yeah, literally. Like, here's this really sad poem about this chronic illness I have. Here's a little fat doll drawing that I think that is like my self-image. No, it's great. I love those little guys. Yeah, like my little line people. I just it's my world that I try to share. I like it. I like my world, so I hope that other people can enjoy.
I'm sure they'll love it too.
Yeah, we'll see.
I saw you're selling art too. Like, how long have you been doing that?
Yeah, pretty much since COVID kind of helped me push it along a little bit. I got inspired because as I was traveling a lot, I was doodling and sketching and journaling always, and I would start to post some of my doodles and stuff.
Yeah.
I sort of made like an art account to just see if people even thought it was good, because like I wasn't even sure, because you know there's a whole world of like crude illustration, like David Shrigley, almost like Shel Silverstein even. I don't know if I'd call his crude though. They're a little bit more refined, but you know, that kind of line art that I just am so connected to, but I don't know if mine are any good. So I posted, and
I mean, do you like them and people buy them? I'm sure.
I mean, people actually really liked some of them. So it sort of encouraged me to just keep, you know, scanning stuff onto the computer that I drew, and some stuff resonated with people. Like, it's so funny. Like, it's just like music. You'll think some stuff's going to hit so well, and then the stuff that you don't even think twice about is like, you know, your maker or like the excitement, you know? So, so I basically been doing that for like about a year. I have a bunch of prints on my website, and I do commissions too through Etsy, and kind of anything that anybody wants me to try, I'll try it. I can't guarantee anything, but I guarantee it gets done. So, you know, it's all done with love. So I think that's why it generally gets a good.
Yeah, if it comes from a good place, I think that's important.
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Well, April, where can everyone find you online?
My big ass Italian name, aprilrosegabrielli.com, and at April Rose Gabrielli on all socials. My last name is Gabrielli. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I have a Spotify playlist if you type in my name at the moment. So my solo music is not up quite yet. Something may or may not be coming out in the middle of June for a project that I was lucky to write for. And I got songs coming out with other artists here and there. So if you just look up my name, April Rose Gabrielli, I'm on Spotify, YouTube, and all that. So
cool. Yeah. Well, it's wonderful having you. Nice talking to you.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Great. All right. Thanks, everybody.